To summarize, we had a puzzling brisa which said like this: you can choose for immediate use, separate for immediate use. You can separate for a bit later, for later. You cannot separate, and you're chayiv chatas. What's going on here? So first he wanted to say you can separate for Shabbos, but not for after Shabbos, because that's already called preparing. So the Gemara said no. Shabbos and not for Shabbos, that doesn't make a difference whether it's called preparing or not. If it's called preparing, it's not allowed for Shabbos, and if it's not allowed for after Shabbos either. It's allowed for after Shabbos also. So then we tried to say maybe it's if you separate a small amount, less than a dried fig, then it's allowed. And if it's more, then it's not allowed. So no, there's no such a thing. Whenever it's not allowed, the smallest amount is not either allowed. Although logically, the small amount is not called preparing, but there's no such a halach. So then we said, no, maybe it's saying that if you separate with your hand, it's fine. With a utensil which is not designated for it, you're potter. A utensil which is designated for it, you're chayiv. It's a true halach, as we'll see soon from a different brisa. But the Gemara does not accept that this is the pshat in this brisa. He didn't mention a basic detail. He didn't mention anything about utensils. So then we tried saying it depends. If you separate the good from the bad, it's okay, even for a bit later. The bad from the good is not okay. But the Gemara said, no, again, it's a basic detail which is missing from the brisa. Says Abai, the brisa, you don't have to add anything. Just read it and translate it and it's fine. You can separate for immediate use. You can separate for a bit later for the meal which is just ahead of you. You cannot separate for later on after the meal. Because that is as if you're separating for storage and then you're chayiv chatas. So it's saying very simple things without having to add any detail. And Rava agreed to that was Abai's explanation, Rava agreed to him. Then we brought another two brises, which was talking about two types of food. And one said if you separate for eating or for putting away your potter, and the other one says chayiv. But we said it's allowed if you're separating the good, because there it's talking about with utensils. The one that says potter is talking about a utensil which is not designated for it. The one that says chayiv is a utensil which is designated for it. Then we had a story of Rabbi Bibi, which either spread out the food, or he, with all the good and bad mixed together, or he put the basket just in front of them. And we weren't sure why he didn't separate the good and put it in front of them, or separated it before in the kitchen and put it in front of them. Is it because he's puzzled with the brisa? That's what Rashi learns. He doesn't know how to learn it. And therefore he says, I can't do anything. Or you're just trying to be generous. Or according to Tosfos, maybe he holds that a bit before the meal is already a problem, so you just put the full basket. And then we had Chizkiah, which said that you cannot take the beans, which you have to cook with their peels, out of the peel. Why? Because the more beans to peels, the less sweet it's going to be. The more peels to beans, the more sweet it's going to be. So if you separate a bean from the peels, you're actually separating the bad from the good, and you're helping its preparation. And then we said a possible explanation of this Gemara of Rabbi Bibi. Why does Gemara B'chlal bother to figure out whether what did he mean? If anyways we don't pass it like him la'alacha, maybe we could say that the question is this a solution when it's not allowed? Can you spread things out in order to separate them or not? And it seems like the Gemara isn't sure. And the Gemara stays with the question.